Hi, this is Raj, your host, Unleashing Talent, and welcome to another podcast. And today, we are going to talk about how important inclusive leadership is. Bit of understanding between the diversity and inclusion and its relationship. Well, let me ask you some questions. Do you think that bias is a very natural phenomenon and it exists in our culture and in our society? We have our preferences and others have their preferences, and they all come from the values and beliefs and the background that we've lived and the background that we've been brought up. But I would say this is absolutely natural, something that you find absolutely opposite to what you like is something that you kind of don't like, or maybe you have certain questions. And in some situations, you also get a bit biased. Have you experienced bias against you or someone you know? That would be something interesting for you to recall if you had a story where people were biased to you. Or maybe if I might ask if you were biased to someone knowingly or unknowingly. And the differences sometimes do create issues. Agree? I'm sure you do. But inclusion, on the other hand, is an intentional behavior. While you understand that there are differences, you tend to be inclusive. And because you understand that those differences are because of certain reasons and diversity is natural. So the paradigm shift starts when you start accepting people. When you start accepting the differences and the diversity, and you keep the biases and preferences aside, and you start looking into people as talent, as people who have different strengths and different level of, you start looking at people differently. And when you do that, your entire perspective changes. And that's when you transition from a leader to an effective leader, and probably to an inspirational leader. So as I said, inclusion and inclusive behavior itself is the first point, because that is based on your motive and intention. When you become leader, you're responsible for people, and you have to start thinking differently. You have to start thinking big, larger, more global, more international. You need to have a big heart to do that, because you are a leader. And you start believing in the collective strength of your team, your direct team or your indirect teams, or your organization as a team. You start accepting people as they are and start looking at their strengths. And when they start contributing to your mission, to your vision, that's when you can say confidently that you are unleashing the talent and unlocking the potential of the diversity that you have. Whether the inclusion is ideal or it is pragmatic, I would say it's ideal also, and it's pragmatic also. As a pragmatic leader, you understand the need for being inclusive. So at the next stage, we have a choice to make, right? We all have choices. As leaders, to be inclusive authentically is a choice. And if we make that choice, then our intention and our motives are absolutely clear, and we get purified at that moment. And that's when the change starts happening, and then the impact starts happening, and the influence starts happening. The next question you should ask yourself is it Is it right for you? The next question you should ask is, do we have the right and the duty to make the right choice or not? You do. As a leader, you have to make the right choice, which is ideal choice, which is the right choice, which is sustainable, which is important for the organization. And that right choice is making a deliberate effort to be an inclusive leader. By doing that, what are some of the advantages that you may have? How would it impact you? Number one, it will purify you as a leader, and you would transcend and you will transition into a larger, bigger, greater inspirational leader. Number two, it will start influencing your team and your people. People around you will get influenced, and you will kind of leave an impressionistic type of discipline. So it has an impact. And when that happens, there's a lot of positivity that happens, and people start thinking of contributing more and more and more. That's how you get the advantage of this. So if you look at the impact, I'm sure you would agree that this is a very, very important element in any organization. And this can lead to a very high level of emotional connect and engagement of the employees towards the organizational goals and mission and vision. And more importantly, they would start respecting you as a leader, and they are not going to forget you. Because remember, one person has his or her own situation. And I'm not talking about diversity, just the gender. It could be the region, it could be the lifestyle, it could be, person of a different geography, different country, different food habits, different clothes habits, and there could be many different reasons. It could be different perspectives. It could be different. It could be the age differences. It could be the values or beliefs. There could be many different avenues. And that's the beauty. That's how the world is. That's how the nature is. And that's why you accept it. So what is diversity? Is it a fact? It is. It's a fact, and it's a reality. So if you are a realistic leader, you accept it. And when you accept it, everything changes. The perspective changes, the paradigm changes. In the organizational context, I think inclusive leadership should be part of the value system. The employees within the organization should know that this organization is inclusive, and it should show in your policies, procedures, and behaviors and day-to-day operations of the leaders and managers and team leads. And this is what takes you to the next level of maturity as a leader. And as I said, this is important for you, most importantly, and for your team, business, organization, society, and community in general, because this is your strength. This is not your weakness. If you have your preferences and biases against people, against differences, then it is done. It's not going to happen. So if you want to build a great organization, diversity is absolutely important for you. Actually, you would go to an extent that you would create diversity in the organization so that you can accommodate people with different ideas. You would value every individual irrespective of the gender, the lifestyle, the perspective, characteristics, age, beliefs, and values. And that's how you become inclusive. And by doing that, you align the entire thought process of the workforce towards your mission. Thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed this podcast on diversity and inclusion.